has recommitted to its campaign promise to fix health care. In the speech from the throne opening the new session of the legislature today, the government pledges to deliver world-class access to health care. There are specific commitments to offer incentives to hire more doctors, including a retirement fund, and promises to reduce wait times, deliver universal mental health care, and to expand ambulance service and long-term care. The speech also acknowledges the housing crisis and commits to greater accountability and promises
That's not what Gary Burrell said.
Here to discuss all of this, or at least a good part of it, is the Premier of Nova Scotia on his first full day in that chair, the Honourable Tim Houston. Premier, welcome. Congratulations on your first day, your first full day in the House.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. Happy to be here.
Premier, in my experience, new governments and new premiers often say that they found things are a lot worse than they expected when they got into office. How does what you found inside government compare with what you expected?
We actually knew it was bad. We're a big focus on healthcare for sure, and we knew it was bad, and we did the tour, the Minister and I, and some of the senior health officials across the province talking to frontline healthcare workers. And it's bad. Our healthcare professionals are feeling overwhelmed. We know the access problems, so I can't say that this time. We already knew how bad it was, and it is bad for sure.
What about the rest of government, including the province's finances? Are things worse than you expected?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't say. I mean, look, we've as an opposition, I think it's the obligation of the opposition parties to understand what's happening in government, understand some of the finances, and of course, you don't have full access to it as opposition, but I wouldn't say. I won't be taking that approach to governing. I'm not going to be saying, look, we didn't know it was this bad and we don't know what to do. We knew it was bad. We know what to do. It's going to take work for sure. It's going to take time, but we're very, very focused on making things better.
Looking at some specifics then, what have you learned about the situation inside the healthcare system that perhaps you didn't know?
Well, here's what I would say is that what's something that was reconfirmed, and that's just that my admiration for our healthcare professionals and their dedication to serving Nova Scotians, and my admiration for them has gone up. I had a great deal of admiration for them, but certainly knowing the working conditions and stuff, I've just my message to them is please hang in there, please stick with us. So that's new, and just I would give a tip of the hat to the people in the civil service. They want to be helpful. They want to be part of the solution. But there's challenges. Look, man, there's no question. There's challenges in healthcare. There's challenges in housing. These things are things that I'm very focused on. I take it personal.
One of the things that we do know now is that there are more people without doctors than there were even a couple of months ago when you became Premier, about 78,000. You even at one point said your family doctor was going to be retiring. How much worse is that going to get before it starts to get any better?
It's going to get a little worse, but I will say this: we have Dr. Kevin Orwell, and he's very focused on recruiting and retention of healthcare professionals. He's had some early successes. I mean, healthcare professionals that were all set to leave the province, that he's convinced to stay here and continue to serve Nova Scotians and hang in there a bit longer. So, but I do see that number creeping up. You're right. My family is part of that. I hear from people every day who are very concerned that they don't have access to primary care. So we'll get a little worse, but help is on the way. We're committed and we're focused. No question about that.
But I want to be clear about this. Is the Premier of Nova Scotia actually without a family doctor?
Yes, I am. Yeah. And my family, and that includes my extended family as well. And of course, my
knew this months ago.
In the middle of some healthcare treatments. So it's
said it during the campaign.
I said it during the campaign. It really hit home for me when my 20-year-old son said, well, Nanny will just get a new family doctor, and no, it doesn't work like that. So when you have 20-year-olds that are worried about their grandparents' access to care, it tells you how bad things are, and it's bad. There's no question, and I know that group. I'm not unique, and I don't. There's 78,000 other Nova Scotians in the same boat that we know of, and the number's growing. So I feel the anxiety. I feel the urgency.
One of your commitments, and it was reiterated today, is to help foreign-trained doctors become credentialed locally.
Yes.
A lot of people can't understand why this is a problem. So what has to happen in order for people who come here
give the Nova Scotia College of Physicians and Surgeons a kick in the pants?
Doctors here.
They have to pass the exams. So we never want to sacrifice the quality. I mean, we need to.
They've passed the exams. They've come over. They still can't work.
Nova Scotians can have confidence that the healthcare professional they're dealing with has met the standards and then does meet all the criteria that's required. But what can happen, what should happen, is those from other jurisdictions that want to come here and practice medicine, we can help we can mentor them, we can help them, make sure that they're ready to write the exams. And there's a whole other issue when if they're practicing in another province, I mean, we should be more open and receptive to that too. So there's lots we can do. I don't want to give the impression that there's not things we can do. There is a lot we can do. We're getting to work on that, and we're just knocked down all these hurdles, because those that want to practice medicine should be looking at Nova Scotia and saying, that's the province I want to go to and do it. We'll roll with that carpet, but they have to meet the standard. There's no question about that.
A term we use a lot around here is world-class. We like to claim that we have things that are world-class. How do you define world-class access to healthcare, which is something that is specifically promised in the speech today?
Yeah, we do use it a lot, and rightfully so. World-class beaches, world-class quality of life. We have those things. In terms of medicine, people, look, when you get really sick in this province, you're going to get good care. If you get into the system, you will get good care. But we want to make sure that we have world-class access. People don't have to worry. They don't have to wait. They don't have to say, well, I'll put it off because I don't want to wait at the air for 8 hours, or I'll put it off because I'm worried that I'll get in. We want to make sure that those that feel that they need access to care have the confidence to put their hand up and go seek it, including addictions and mental health. So we just need, once we can say that if you're a Nova Scotian and you want access to care, you can get it, then I'll say it's world class.
So that is here. That is essentially to that. When you want it, you get it.
When you need it, you get it. Yeah, I want to speak that. Yeah.
You just began a four-year mandate from the people. How long realistically does it really take to keep all of these promises? And can it be done? Will it be done within 4 years?
I'm going to do my best.
Well, if you remember during the campaign, we actually costed out like 6 years. Some of these things are going to take time. But all that to the side, what I want to say, what I want Nova Scotians to know is I feel an incredible sense of urgency. We are very, very focused. We'll get things done just as soon as we can. Some things will be slower than I wish. Some things I might be pleasantly surprised, and Nova Scotians might be pleasantly surprised.
Right.
But let's leave no doubt of my focus. This is the standard that I will hold myself to account on. If we can improve access to care, I will think we did good by Nova Scotians. If we can't, then I'll consider myself as not having succeeded.
One other thing I want to ask you about in a policy matter, you are reconsidering your decision to have a non-black person as Deputy Minister of African Nova Scotian Affairs. Some people are wondering how you got that wrong. I mean, you don't have an African Nova Scotian in your caucus, so you obviously don't have an African Nova Scotian Conservative Minister. But how did you get the Deputy Minister part of that wrong?
It's really wonderful.
Well, look, here's my comment on that is we want to make sure that the office is effective for Nova Scotians, that when African Nova Scotians that feel they need something from the government, that they know that office is there to help them. So we made the appointment of the cabinet, the initial run through of deputies, there's always work to be done, Steve. So it was always in the plan to have the right person in that role that's respected by the community. I made some decisions early on. Those decisions offended the community. That was not my intent. It was certainly not my intent. If I got it that wrong, in which in the eyes of many people I did, I apologize. It was not my intention to offend anyone. It is my intention to make sure that we have the right people in the right place, that government is effective and government is helpful and government is there for people when they need it, especially with the Office of African Nova Scotia Affairs. So look, we're going to continue to build the bridge and make sure we put the right people in the right places. But that work is ongoing, and I think we're hearing from the community that they're appreciative of the fact that we acknowledge that there's work to be done. We'll continue to do it.
Finally, what sort of response are you getting to the quip that people who are upset about vaccination and requirements and proof of vaccination should, in your words, flip you the bird? Has that happened?
It does happen. It does happen. But here's the reason why. Is it's not appropriate to yell at somebody who's working in a restaurant. It's not appropriate to camp out in front of a business and discourage customers. So my comment is look, those are people doing their job. They're following the instructions of government. So if you don't like government decisions, take it out on government, not the people that are just doing the job. That's why I said flip me the bird. And some people are doing it. Some it seems like it's in jest, but some it's definitely not. They're the decisions of government.
What do you do when they do that?
I usually laugh and smile, to be honest, but we're look, I have great respect for Dr. Strang. I listened to Dr. Strang's advice, so we put the policy around that. Our only goal is to keep Nova Scotians safe. That's our only goal. And some people don't like government decisions, but they should take them out on the government, and they should feel free to do that.
Premier of Nova Scotia, the Honourable Tim Houston. Premier, we appreciate your time today. Thank you very much.
Maybe in October of next year.
Thanks, Sean. Yeah, appreciate it.
Premier Houston from his office in Halifax late this
You
afternoon.
can call
We're
the
back with
number
more.
again and top it up again, yeah.